One of the most important lessons I've learned in life, and one that I believe can truly transform the course of anyone's future, is that clarity is power. What do I mean by that? It's simple, really. When you have clarity about your goals, your vision, and your purpose, everything else falls into place. When you don't have clarity, everything feels hazy, confusing, and uncertain, and that uncertainty is one of the most significant barriers to achieving anything meaningful in life. You see, life is full of distractions. Every day we are bombarded with new opportunities, new information, and new ideas. Without clarity, it's easy to get pulled in every direction. You wake up each day, do your best to make it through the tasks of the day, and at the end of it, you wonder if you've made any progress at all. There's a sense of being busy, but not necessarily productive. You're doing things, but are you doing the right things? Are you moving toward your goals, or are you simply reacting to life as it comes? That's the danger of not having clarity. Think of it this way. Imagine you're standing in a fog. You're trying to move forward, but you can't see anything clearly. You don't know if there's a road ahead or if you're about to walk off a cliff. You're making guesses, you're stumbling, and you're wasting time and energy. You might even feel exhausted and frustrated, but you don't know why. That's what life is like when you don't have clarity. You're moving, but you don't know where you're headed. You're not focused on a clear destination, and as a result, your efforts feel ineffective and your progress is slow. But what happens when the fog clears? What happens when you have a clear vision of where you want to go? Suddenly, the path is laid out in front of you. You can see the obstacles, the opportunities, and the steps you need to take to get where you want to be. This is the power of clarity. When you can see your destination clearly, everything else becomes easier. Having clarity means you know what you want, you know where you're headed, you know why you're doing what you're doing, and most importantly, you know the difference between what is important and what isn't. This is where many people get stuck because they don't really know what they want. They have a vague idea of wanting to be successful or happy or rich, but these are not specific enough to create a clear plan of action. Clarity isn't just about having a general goal. It's about being able to define that goal as specifically as possible. For instance, instead of saying, "I want to be healthy," try saying, "I want to lose 20 pounds in the next 3 months by exercising 3 times a week and eating a balanced diet." This is a specific, measurable goal. You now have a clear path in front of you, and you can take actionable steps to reach it. The more specific you can make your goals, the more achievable they become. Without specificity, you're just wandering in the fog, hoping something good will happen. Clarity also helps you make better decisions. When you know exactly what you want, it becomes easier to make choices that align with your goals. You won't waste time on distractions or opportunities that don't contribute to your vision. For example, if your goal is to build a successful business, you'll recognize that spending hours on social media, scrolling through posts, is a waste of time. If your goal is to improve your health, you'll know that indulging in junk food or skipping workouts won't serve you in the long run. Clarity acts as a filter for your decisions. It helps you distinguish between what's important and what's irrelevant. Many people struggle because they don't have this kind of clarity. They don't know where they're going, so they make decisions based on temporary emotions or fleeting circumstances. They're constantly reacting to the world around them instead of proactively moving toward their goals. It's like driving a car without a map or GPS. You're just hoping to get somewhere, but you don't really know where. The lack of a clear destination leaves you vulnerable to distractions, detours, and unnecessary setbacks. Think about the most successful people you know. Whether they're entrepreneurs, athletes, or artists, they all have one thing in common: clarity. They know exactly what they want, and they have a well-diametered plan for getting it. They don't waste time on things that don't matter. They know what to say yes to and what to say no to. Their actions are focused, deliberate, and efficient because they are guided by a clear sense of purpose. Clarity is not just important for individual success, it's also crucial for leading others. If you're in a leadership role, whether in business, at home, or in any organization, having clarity about your vision and goals is essential for guiding your team. A leader who lacks clarity can't inspire others because they don't know where they're going. A team without a clear direction will feel lost and unmotivated. But when you as a leader have clarity, your team will rally behind you. They will understand the mission and know exactly what they need to do to contribute. Clear leadership creates clear results. In addition, clarity helps you stay focused in the face of adversity. Life will always present challenges. There will be times when you face setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles. But when you have clarity about your purpose, you won't be easily swayed. You won't get discouraged when things don't go according to plan. You'll remember why you started in the first place, and that will keep you moving forward. With clarity, you'll find the strength to keep going, even when the road gets tough. So, how do you gain this clarity? It starts by asking yourself the right questions. What do you really want in life? What is your purpose? What are your values? Once you have the answers to these questions, you can begin to shape your vision. You can set goals that are specific, measurable, and aligned with your true desires. You can then make a plan and take deliberate action. But remember, clarity is not something that happens overnight. It's a process. You must be willing to take the time to think, to reflect, and to truly understand what you want before you can make any real progress. This process of gaining clarity is not always easy. It requires deep thought, introspection, and sometimes a lot of soul searching. But it's the most important step you can take in your journey to success. Without clarity, you're just wandering. Clarity, you're unstoppable. There's an old saying that goes, "A goal not written down is just a wish." It's simple yet profound. So often we think about the things we want to achieve, but those thoughts are fleeting. We dream, we envision, and we get excited, but without putting those thoughts into action, without writing them down, our goals remain nothing more than wisps of smoke. They're intangible, and they fade as quickly as they came. The act of writing down your goals, however, is far more powerful than you might realize. It's one of the first and most significant steps in transforming your dreams into reality. When you write something down, you're not just putting words on paper, you're making a commitment, you're creating a promise to yourself that you will follow through. Writing gives your thoughts weight. It takes something abstract and makes it concrete. The act of putting pen to paper is like planting a seed in the ground. It's a declaration of your intentions. And just as a seed needs care and attention to grow, so too do your written goals require action and focus to come to fruition. You may have heard stories of successful people who write down their goals, and that's not a coincidence. Whether it's a millionaire entrepreneur or an Olympic athlete, many of the world's most successful people attribute part of their success to the act of writing down their goals. Why? Because when you write down your goals, you do several things. You clarify what you want, you hold yourself accountable, and you begin to visualize the steps you need to take to achieve it. First and foremost, writing your goals down helps you clarify exactly what you want. It forces you to be specific. If you don't write down your goals, they tend to remain vague. We often say things like, "I want to be successful," or "I want to get fit," but these are not concrete objectives. What does success mean to you? What does being fit look like? If you don't define these things, you won't know where to start or when you've arrived. Writing down your goals makes them specific. It helps you break down the abstract into the tangible. Instead of saying, "I want to get healthy," write, "I will lose 10 pounds by the end of the next 2 months by exercising 5 times a week and eating healthier meals." Now you have a clear, measurable goal. You know exactly what success looks like. But writing down your goals doesn't just clarify them, it solidifies them. Have you ever had a thought that seemed important at the time, but as time passed, you forgot all about it? Our minds are full of ideas and fleeting thoughts, and the act of writing helps us retain the ones that matter. Without writing things down, we let ideas slip through the cracks. But when you take the time to write your goals, they stay with you. Every time you see those goals written down, you're reminded of your commitment to yourself, and that serves as motivation. Now let's talk about accountability. When you write down your goals, you create a record of your intentions, and this is where the power of accountability comes in. We all have a tendency to procrastinate or avoid hard tasks, but when your goals are written down, you can't pretend you didn't set them. You can't ignore them. They're staring back at you. Writing your goals down holds you accountable in a way that simply thinking about them cannot. It's easy to put things off when they're in your head because they're not tangible. But when you write them down, you're making a public promise to yourself that you're going to take action. You're no longer just daydreaming, you're taking the first step toward making it real. In addition to accountability, writing your goals down also helps you track your progress. Have you ever set a goal in your mind and then weeks or months later you wonder if you've made any progress at all? It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and forget about the goals we set for ourselves. But when you write your goals down, you create a roadmap for success. You have something to refer back to, something that reminds you of your direction and purpose. You can check in with yourself regularly to see how far you've come and adjust your approach if necessary. This level of self-awareness is invaluable because it allows you to stay focused and motivated. Moreover, writing down your goals also strengthens your belief in their possibility. You see, when you put your goals on paper, you take the first step in transforming them into something real. That simple act of writing is a form of self-affirmation. You're telling yourself, I believe I can do this. I believe this is possible. When we keep our goals locked inside our minds, we often talk ourselves out of them. We start doubting our ability, our resources, and our worthiness. But writing it down is an act of conviction. It shows you that you believe in your dreams enough to commit to them in a tangible way. It's as if you're declaring to the world and to yourself that this is something you're serious about. Another powerful aspect of writing your goals down is the way it impacts your mindset. Writing your goals makes them more than just an aspiration. It turns them into an intention. It shifts your mindset from one of wishful thinking to one of focused action. A goal that is written down is no longer something you hope for or dream about. It's something you plan for. And when you approach your goals with intention, your behavior changes. You become more proactive. You begin to take deliberate steps toward achieving what you've written down. It's as if the universe begins to work with you because your actions now align with your intentions. The clearer you are in writing your goals, the clearer your actions will be. People often underestimate the power of writing down their goals. They think it's a small thing, a trivial act, but in reality, it's a game changer. It turns an idea into an objective, a wish into a plan. It forces you to be specific, to be accountable, and to believe in the possibility of your success. Without writing your goals down, they remain nothing more than fleeting thoughts. With writing, they become solid, tangible, and real. So, if you haven't already, take a moment to write your goals down. You'll be amazed at how much more focused, motivated, and determined you become once they're on paper, waiting for you to bring them to life. One of the most powerful strategies for achieving your goals is also one of the simplest. Break it down. When you have big dreams or lofty goals, it can often feel overwhelming. The task ahead seems too monumental, and you wonder how you're ever going to make any real progress. This is where breaking things down comes in. Instead of focusing on the massive, intimidating final result, break your goal into smaller, more manageable pieces. By doing this, you transform a seemingly insurmountable task into a series of achievable steps. Let's explore how breaking things down can bring clarity and momentum to your journey. The first thing to understand is that big goals, while exciting, can easily paralyze you if you try to tackle them all at once. Think about it. If you want to lose 50 pounds, that's a significant challenge. It's a long-term goal that requires consistent effort and commitment. If you simply look at the scale and think, I need to lose 50 pounds, it's easy to get discouraged. That number looms large in your mind, and each day that passes without visible progress feels like a failure. But when you break that goal down into smaller, more manageable pieces, you start to see a way forward. Instead of focusing on the 50-pound loss, you can break it down into weekly or even daily targets. Perhaps you aim to lose 1 to 2 pounds each week. If you focus on losing just 1 pound a week, it doesn't feel as overwhelming. In fact, it feels doable. And over the course of a year, those small weekly losses will add up to a dramatic result. By breaking the goal into smaller steps, you create a clear, actionable path to success. This is the power of breaking it down. It makes the journey feel more attainable, and every step you take brings you closer to your ultimate destination. But breaking it down isn't just about dividing your goal into smaller increments. It's also about identifying the specific actions required to achieve those smaller goals. In the case of weight loss, you might break it down into tasks like exercising for 30 minutes a day, drinking more water, cutting out sugary snacks, or meal prepping. These are concrete actions that you can take, and by focusing on these individual tasks, the larger goal becomes much less daunting. This approach is applicable to any goal. Whether you want to write a book, build a successful business, or run a marathon, breaking the process into smaller tasks makes it easier to get started and maintain momentum. Let's take the example of writing a book. If you think of writing a 300-page book all at once, it seems like a monumental task. But when you break it down into smaller goals, it becomes more manageable. Perhaps your first goal is to write 1,000 words a day. Over time, those 1,000 words add up, and before you know it, you have the first chapter done, then the second, and eventually the whole book. The key to breaking it down effectively is to be specific. The more precise you can be with your smaller goals and actions, the clearer your path will become. Instead of saying, "I want to write more," try saying, "I will write 500 words every day for the next 30 days. Instead of saying, "I need to get in shape," try saying, "I will walk 30 minutes a day and do 3 strength training workouts each week." Specificity provides you with a clear target, making it much easier to track your progress and stay on course. One of the biggest reasons people fail to reach their goals is because they fail to break things down. They see the large goal and become overwhelmed by it. When this happens, they often don't know where to start, so they don't start at all. The beauty of breaking things down is that it gives you a place to begin. And once you take that first step, momentum takes over. It's like climbing a mountain. When you look up at the peak, it can seem impossible to reach. But when you focus on the next step, and the next step after that, the climb becomes manageable. Eventually, you'll find yourself at the top. In addition to making your goal feel more achievable, breaking it down also helps you stay focused and motivated. When you're faced with a massive goal, it's easy to become discouraged if progress is slow. But when you break it down into smaller steps, each little victory along the way fuels your motivation. Every time you complete one of those smaller tasks, you gain a sense of accomplishment. It's like building a snowball. At first it's small, but with each turn it gathers more snow, grows bigger, and gains momentum. Those little wins add up, and before you know it, you're making significant progress toward your ultimate goal. Breaking it down also helps you manage setbacks. On any journey, there will be obstacles, challenges, and times when things don't go as planned, but when your goal is broken down into smaller tasks, it's easier to adapt. Let's say you've set a goal to write a chapter every week, but halfway through you run into writer's block. If you're only focused on the big goal, writing the entire book, this setback might feel like a huge failure, but if you've broken the task down into smaller pieces, you can adjust. Maybe instead of writing a full chapter this week, you focus on writing a specific section or revising an earlier part of the book. By breaking things down, you give yourself the flexibility to work around setbacks without losing sight of the bigger picture. Another key benefit of breaking things down is that it helps you stay organized. When you have a large goal, it's easy to get scattered and lose track of what you need to do. But by breaking your goal into smaller, actionable steps, you create a roadmap. You can schedule time for each task, prioritize what needs to be done first, and track your progress along the way. The more organized you are, the less likely you are to feel overwhelmed or distracted. You know exactly what to do next and what steps will take you closer to achieving your goal. The concept of breaking things down is not just about making the process easier. It's about making the goal more realistic and giving yourself the best chance for success. Whether you're working on a personal goal, a professional objective, or a long-term dream, breaking it down into smaller, achievable tasks makes it possible. It creates a clear path forward, keeps you motivated, and ensures that you're consistently moving closer to your desired outcome. Without this step, big goals can feel impossible, but when broken down, they become entirely within your reach. One of the most powerful habits you can adopt to reach your goals is the consistent act of taking daily action. While setting goals, visualizing success, and planning are all essential steps in the journey, it is the daily actions that truly build the momentum needed to achieve what you desire. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't often comes down to one simple factor. Taking consistent daily steps toward your goals, no matter how small, is what ultimately moves you forward. Let's begin by addressing a common misconception that people often have. Many believe that success is a result of sporadic bursts of intense effort or massive leaps of progress. While these moments of inspiration or intense work can feel exciting, they are not sustainable in the long run. It is the small, steady actions taken every day that compound over time to produce significant results. Think about it like saving money. If you put a small amount into your savings account every day, it might not seem like much at first. But over time, those small daily deposits add up, and eventually they create a large sum. The same principle applies to success. Small, consistent actions lead to big achievements. The truth is, motivation can be fleeting. There will be days when you feel inspired, energized, and ready to take on the world, but there will also be days when you feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. It is on those days that the power of daily action becomes even more evident. By committing to taking action every day, you create a sense of discipline and consistency that pushes you forward even when your motivation wanes. This is how habits are formed, by doing something repeatedly, even when it's difficult, until it becomes second nature. Daily action doesn't always have to be grand or monumental. In fact, taking small, manageable steps every day is often more effective than trying to do everything at once. For example, if your goal is to write a book, you don't have to sit down and write an entire chapter every day. Instead, commit to writing a set number of words each day, even if it's just 300 or 500 words. At first, it may seem insignificant, but after a month, you'll have made significant progress. It's the consistent effort, day after day, that accumulates and brings you closer to your larger goal. This is the key to success: consistency. The real magic happens in the daily routine. It's the small, seemingly insignificant actions that over time compound into significant results. Think about fitness. If your goal is to get in shape, you may not see drastic changes after a single workout. But if you commit to exercising every day, you'll gradually begin to notice improvements. Your strength will increase, your stamina will grow, and eventually your body will transform. It's not the one intense workout that changes everything. It's the daily habit of showing up, pushing yourself, and taking action day in and day out. In addition to consistency, taking daily action builds momentum. Imagine you're pushing a heavy boulder up a hill. At first, it seems almost impossible. The boulder is heavy and every push feels like it's barely making a difference. But as you continue to push day after day, you begin to notice that it's getting a little easier. The boulder is moving faster, and with each push, you're building more momentum. Eventually, what once seemed like an insurmountable challenge becomes something you can handle with ease. The same principle applies to your goals. At first, taking action may feel hard, and the results may be minimal. But over time, you'll start to see the fruits of your labor, and you'll build momentum that propels you forward. Taking daily action also has a way of helping you develop a sense of ownership over your goals. When you take action every day, you are actively engaging in the process of making your dreams a reality. You're not waiting for things to happen to you. You're making things happen. This sense of ownership is incredibly empowering. You realize that your success is not dependent on luck or external circumstances, but on the consistent effort you put in. You become the creator of your destiny, and this mindset shift is one of the most powerful transformations you can make. But there's another aspect to daily action that is often overlooked. It helps you build confidence. Every time you take a step toward your goal, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You show yourself that you can handle challenges, make progress, and keep going, even when it's difficult. Over time, this builds your self-esteem and belief in your abilities. You begin to see yourself as someone who takes action, who follows through, and who gets things done. This self-belief is essential for overcoming obstacles and staying the course when things get tough. Furthermore, daily action helps you stay connected to your goals. When you make taking action a non-negotiable part of your day, you keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. You're constantly reminded of what you're working toward, and this keeps you motivated and focused. It's easy to get distracted by life's daily challenges, but when you commit to taking action every day, you create a sense of urgency and purpose. You don't let the distractions take you off course, because you know that every action you take brings you closer to the outcome you desire. Daily action is also about discipline. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. This is where many people fall short. They wait for the perfect moment, for the right feeling, or for motivation to strike. But the truth is, motivation doesn't always show up when you need it. The key is to show up anyway. Commit to taking action, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. This is where true growth happens. When you push through the resistance and do what you know needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. One of the most important things to remember when taking daily action is to avoid perfectionism. Don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate, massive results. The process of achieving your goals is rarely linear. Some days will be more productive than others, and some days you may not make as much progress as you would like. That's okay. What matters is that you continue to take action, even on the days when it feels like nothing is happening. Progress is progress, no matter how small, and as long as you keep taking action, you are moving closer to your goals. Taking daily action is not always easy. It requires discipline, perseverance, and consistency. But it is the most effective way to make progress toward your dreams. By committing to show up every day, no matter how small the task, you set yourself up for success. You build momentum, gain confidence, and create a sense of ownership over your goals. Every action you take, no matter how minor, is a step closer to the life you want to create. So make taking action a non-negotiable part of your day. It's the key to turning your dreams into reality.